I'm joined in studio by Pete Rust and Dagan Fleming of The Lockup. You're very, very welcome.
Thank you
Thanks for having us.
You're here this morning to talk about a new app. Yeah, it is an app that you've launched. Is it
Yes.
a virtual stage sort of thing?
Yeah, it's an app and a website and a piece of technology that anyone can log in and use.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Pete, I'm going to let you explain it then because I'm sure you'll do a much better job than me.
So it's called Fanify, and it's basically a music promotion platform that any band or artist anywhere in the world can sign up. They can add their best promotional content to it, and Fanify will build them a fan base for them. So it's completely automated. Bands and artists can now go back to playing music, focusing on what's important, writing their songs, rehearsing, being musicians. And they can use Fanify, they can sign up, add their content, and Fanify will put their content in front of fans. So it's people who love to discover new music and people who like the same type of music as our users. So if you sign up to Fanify, you can put your music out there and it's going to be shown to people who like the same type of music as yours and who love to discover new music. And that's how we can build a fan base for bands and artists.
Okay, so it's a bit like, say something like Spotify, and it'll tell you, because you listen to this, we're going to suggest you listen to that.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
Spotify's algorithm works like that it finds bands for music fans. So Fanify is almost like the opposite. So it's a service for bands and artists that finds fans for their music. So it's almost like you said, that it's that algorithm but in reverse. So there's obviously a lot of various different marketing tools and things like that out there, but Fanify is the first fully automated service where you don't have to know anything about marketing. So any band or artist who enter into that whole sphere, they want to start promoting their music. What I hear time and time again is that, oh man, I have to spend hours and hours a week on this. I don't want to be a marketer. I'm not interested in digital marketing. I want to be playing guitar. I want to be writing songs. I want to be playing music. And a lot of the influencers in that whole sphere say, I think that bands and artists should be spending 20 hours a week on promoting. It's your career. It's so important. But traditionally in the old music industry, this is stuff that would be handled by a record label. That's bands would try their best to get signed, and then it's the professionals, the professional marketers would market their music and do all that for them. But as we all know, technology and digitization and the internet has changed the entire music industry landscape. So, distribution is now handled automatically by things like DistroKid, TuneCore, CD Baby. Bands don't have to spend any time doing those things anymore because this technology, these services have stepped in to make it easier for them, to save them that time and effort. But the one thing that there's no solution for is music promotion. So that's what Fanify is. It's the solution to digitize and automate building a fan base and the entire music promotion process for bands and artists.
Okay, I'm going to go over to Dagan, and I think I can nearly answer this question myself, but I'm going to ask you, where did the idea come from?
Well, we were actually doing this ourselves, and like any sort of task in business, it was quite labour intensive. So Pete and I would have been using, in conjunction with Google AdWords and YouTube, to increase views and increase sort of exposure for the acts that we were putting out on the YouTube channel. We were actually implementing all of these steps, but it's labour intensive, very heavy. You'd need to be a skilled marketer to be able to apply them correctly, and also being able to put the music in front of the right people. So it's not just about putting it out there everywhere. We live in the world of the digital world, where we can particularly put a certain type of music in front of somebody that's going to increase the chances of them actually becoming a fan for that user. So what we did was we automated all of those steps that are very labour intensive. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster. It's been 18 months of development. We got Shane Brett, who's in Pork Pie. He obviously has a history in building tech companies. So Shane would have sort of mentored us and sort of funded us to get us to this phase of development. So it's operational, it's running. We have, currently we've a lot of test sort of videos up at the moment, and it's amazing to see the difference, Marissa. We have one video that with absolutely no Fanify link to, and then we put up the same video and we link it to Fanify, and there's 20 times more views on the video that's linked with Fanify. On top of the fact, there is loads of engagement, loads of commentary, loads of chat. There's little organic conversations happening. So we're just increasing the opportunity for a musician to get in front of the right people.
And can I ask you, when you went to Shane Brett, and obviously he's got a provenance in that whole tech field, but he's also a musician, and you gave him this idea. What was his, how did he react? Was he skeptical or was he excited?
He both, and he, if anything, it's like any sort of organic sort of business relationship that happens, and we brought him in for advice on, how to move Lock Up Records into another phase of the business. And when he's seen the sort of level of work and the level of back end work that was going into building these campaigns and building all this, Shane said, imagine you could automate the steps. Imagine you could, simplify this whole process for people, And that was really where, from that point, we moved. So yeah, the excitement was, Shane, it was a whirlwind of a meeting. We went in thinking one thing and we left with something completely different. Would be a fair enough point to make,
Did you, either of you, ever envisage 2 years ago, or maybe 2.5 years ago, that this is where you'd be at, that this is what you'd be working on? Because you obviously your core area is something completely different.
Yeah. I suppose what the pandemic has probably taught us all really is that things change quickly, and so for. Nothing really after pandemic now. Nothing surprises me anymore, really. So, but yeah, to answer your question simply, probably not. No, not leading a tech company, but still, we embrace every day as it comes because that's the way things are at the moment. So it's brilliant.
How many people are currently involved in Fanify?
Go on ahead.
Yeah, well, there's the primary team is small, but we've got a lot of people that we're bringing in to help with different things and we welcome anyone who wants to get involved with us and contact us. So we have a career section of our website, and we're very interested in talking to people who feel that they'd like to be part of the team or have various skills that would be of use to us. But yeah, it's a small team at the moment, but with that we're actually doing really well in terms of the product is a marketing product, so we have a very high skill set in digital marketing, so we're able to market the business ourselves. We don't have to employ anybody to do that, and that's the great thing about technology, is it really it decreases the time and effort it takes us all to do all these things that previously took a huge amount of time and effort to do. And that's definitely helping us with this whole project and moving it forward. Yeah, so it's definitely a small team at the moment, but I can definitely see it growing very rapidly in the near future, because we've got a user base. They are very happy with their results. Like, people are surprised by how good the results are already. And only a few months ago we were still in a sort of proof of concept. Is this going to work? But the tech works, and it's already building a fan base for bands and musicians. As we sit here talking now, I can open my phone. I've actually got comments from Meta Business Suite from a lot of our test users, with people making comments saying, "Man, that rocks," stuff like that, and the people go, "No, it doesn't," or arguing. That's the great thing is this. Doesn't just put your music just out there to nobody. These are music fans, you know what I mean? And I call them new music fans, because there's a lot of people that we know in our lives. You might have someone who's like, they love the Beatles, they love Metallica, they'd listen to that all day long. But if they hear a new band, something new, it just doesn't go into them. They're not interested in discovering a new band. They're not interested in hearing stuff. But then you've got people who are. There's millions of new music fans out there. And that's what any new band or artist, I mean, if you could tell them, look, do you know what I have for you? I have a magic recipe that's going to put your music in front of new music fans, people who love to discover new music. They love discovering a new band. It's their favorite thing in the world. And not only do they love that, they like the exact same type of music that you play. Like that if you told me when I was gigging around all the time and trying to promote my own music a few years ago, if you offered me that, man, I'd be snapping that up so quickly. Because I always think about it like, you go play a gig, you go to an open mic night, you play a little gig, there's 100 people at the gig. 1 or 2 come up to you at the end of it and say, "Man, I really like your tunes, that was class." I mean, that's the best feeling in the world for a band and musician. And you think, I can't play every gig around the world. Those two people, that's who I want to reach. How can I reach them? There's all this technology that exists. If I'm in a plane flying over Australia, I can move $1,000 from one bank account into another. Mental, but I can't put my music in front of those two people. But now you can, because Fanify exists.
Do you know when I was growing up, it was this was your big brother or sister? And I was that big sister.
Yeah.
You know? My
yeah.
brother always says, "Oh, you only tell his musical taste from me." And then, you know, after I had my daughter, I kind of lost track of music. I wasn't listening to as much music, and to ensure that I kept up with things, he started to send me CDs.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
burning CDs for me, and you have to hear this person, you have to hear that person. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And you're just doing it on a global scale.
Yeah.
We're doing it at a global scale across, you know what I mean? That's the thing about data now is we tap into the entire marketing infrastructure of Google and Facebook, and we hope to plan to move into a TikTok integration in the near future. So that's on our roadmap of what we want to develop. But, you know, these, whether you like it or not, you know, if you are online, all these services know everything about everybody. And Facebook is one of the biggest companies in the world, and 90% of its revenue is just marketing. So it knows everything about everybody, but they don't have any sort of way for a band to just log in and go, put in your music, click the more fans button. That doesn't exist. You know, it's this extremely complicated set of tools that even experienced marketers might find difficult to market music because it's different than a product. You're trying to sell a product, you want to just make a sale and then they have the product. But music is a fan and artist relationship. It's a relationship like a friendship almost, where you want them to feel like they've discovered you, that they have a value in that band, that they feel something about them, not just that they like the tune, the particular song, but what really fills the lifeblood of an independent artist's career is a fan base. That's people they can keep bringing their new releases, their new gig, their new piece of content to, and those people are going to keep engaging with it and keep, investing in it. And that's, you know what I mean. We want to build Fanify so you can sell your merch on Fanify, you can sell your gig tickets because it knows your audience. So you can put in your gigs, you can put in your merch, and then we can use marketing to make sales for it, and it will be all automated. So you don't have to do any work. You can go back to playing music and let Fanify take care of all that stuff for you.
Okay, so is the app live now?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how many bands have you got on there? Or
We just have it up and running now, so we've got about 50 users in total.
Okay.
And there's some from Canada, from
some from all
Australia,
around the world at the moment.
Really, and then we haven't really fully rolled out the full marketing because it's just up and running. We're getting through the testing phases, so it's great to even have that amount of users at this when we haven't fully rolled it out yet.
And on a day-to-day practical level, how does it work? What if, say, I'm a singer and I want to go on to Fanify? So what do I do?
So basically, you upload your music to your own channels, as you always do, your Facebook page and also your YouTube channel. And then you go on to Fanify, you create your profile, and you add your sound alike. So you'll be prompted every step of the way in relation to it. So you'll be asked for sound alike. So in what I mean by sound alike is what music do you sound like? What other artists do you sound like? And then you move along step by step, and then you just input the links. You just link your YouTube link and your Facebook link into Fanify, and then you publish. And you publish from there.
Yeah, one of the things when we built the platform that we wanted to do is basically make it as simple to sign up and use as Netflix or Amazon. And it really is, like, you don't need to have any in-depth knowledge. As Dagan said, you're prompted along the way. So it's just, you already have your content. If you're a band or artist, you have content up there. So it's just create an account, add the content to the platform. There's a few other steps like the sound alikes and things like that, but that's basically it. It's just put your content up there and go back to playing music, check in every couple of days, and you'll see your results. You'll see the fans that are being built, and you'll get the notifications yourself on Facebook or YouTube. You'll get comments, you'll get likes, you'll get people actually engaging with your music if you use the platform. So that's the really exciting thing about it for me at the moment.
There's an incredible amount of musicians in Louth and in Dundalk, and for me, it's been a journey for years with the lock-up gigs that we regularly would have done, the showcase events in the Spirit Store, and it was it was about exposure. It was about getting these acts exposure and more. And this is just a natural progression from that with Fanify, that we're just, you know, acts are just so good at performing, and unfortunately they need to get themselves out there in front of more of potential fans. You know, and that's what it's about.
It's a bit of future proofing if we did have to go into another lockdown like we had, and so many of those musicians then found themselves,
Completely, yeah.
That was it. They couldn't perform. They couldn't. And I have to say, quite a number did step up to the plate, and they very quickly grasped the whole virtual gig thing and the virtual tip jar, and you know, it was great to see. So something like you have now gives them a further platform, and that they can, you know, reach an even wider audience with that.
Completely, yeah. You hit the nail on the head. It would just allow them reach to more people globally, as Pete described at the start. It's about reaching to that 2 or 3% of people that really have an appetite for your music, and that it's not just about, you know, that was a great song. It's about that they're willing to physically invest in the band, you know, buy their album, you know, support them, you know. So, and that's one thing we have seen in the pandemic. People have been great with buying local music, you know, supporting local acts, and trying to get things back and run. So this is sort of to be used as a complimentary service to acts that are already out gigging. You know, keep gigging, keep doing what you love doing, you know, and let Fanify build your fan base.
Excellent. And it all started here in good old Dundalk.
Absolutely, yeah.
Best town in the country.
Beautiful thing about it.
On the town.
Come on the town.
Listen, I wish you the best of luck with it, and it just sounds so exciting and interesting, and as you said, you've done all the work, so you know for the people who want to go along and use it, it's also, you know, it's a win-win.
Yes, yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, well, listen, Pete and Dagan, thank you so much for dropping in this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Thanks so much for having us.